Hi, welcome to roseopalknits, a crafty channel. Today is Wednesday, January 21st, and I am here to talk about how I'm going to approach my whips this year in 2026. So, hey, welcome. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back and spending some more of your precious free time here with me. And if you are new, I hope you stick around, you like what you see, and you consider subscribing. So a little bit about this channel in case you are new. Rose Opal Knits is a channel that my daughter-in-law Daphne and I co-host together. We used to be a multi-generational household, and so it was very easy for us to pop on together. But a little over a year ago, my son and Daphne and their children moved into their own home. And so we've been able to continue to get together for regular crafty update videos, but there are some extra videos and discussions that I've wanted to have, crafty chats I like to call them, and I have decided that it's okay if I come on here by myself and talk about those things. If you are here for it, great, and if you're not, I completely understand. So I am the mother-in-law, like I said. My husband and I met in high school. We have 4 children. Holden is 29, Thomas is 22, Ralph is 17, and Mary Rose is 9. Daphne is married to my oldest son, Holden, and together they have 4 children here with us, and a 5th baby that is going to be born very soon. So we like to talk about all the crafty things that we get into, mainly knitting, crochet, and cross stitch, but we also enjoy other crafts. We do some yarn dyeing. Daphne has dabbled in spinning and sewing, and yeah, we talk about whatever we are interested in. So, like I said in the very beginning, today I want to discuss how I'm going to approach my whip pile. I'm going to discuss knitting, crochet, and cross stitch. I will start with the knitting and crochet portion and then finish with the cross stitch information. So if you're just here for one or the other, then it should be easy enough to, watch what you want and not watch what you don't want. So I'm not a huge crocheter. I'm beefing up my crochet skills because there are quite a few crochet projects I'd like to tackle coming up in the future. So, but I do crochet a little. So it's mostly knitting, mostly cross stitch. All right. So first off, let me tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my Douglas Cardi by Andrea Mowry. I do have a project page for this on Ravelry. And now that I've said that, I've realized I haven't said there are show notes in the description box below this video. All the places you can find us, Ravelry, Instagram, our blog, and our Discord group where we host all our knit-alongs and make-alongs, our spread shop where we sell merch, and our Ko-Fi where we accept donations to help send out prizes and giveaways. Okay, so yes, I know that it's a size 2. I used more colors than what the pattern called for, but I just love it. It's probably one of my most favorite knits, and you will see that I am knitting another one. So I am going to briefly talk about that. Okay, so jumping into the knits and crochet whips. I didn't come into 2026 with 26 whips. I participated in the 12 cast-ons with Angela of Yarn and Yarn. She's the mastermind behind that that knit along, make along. It was super fun. I enjoyed it immensely, and I know that quite a few of you have stopped by for that reason. And so after casting on my new 12 I called them the 12 cast-ons of Christmas because I started, you know, during like Christmas Day and went until Epiphany. But so once I got them all cast on, then I went through my craft room, I organized, I pulled out all the whips, and I had 26 whips. I was like, oh, that's fun, 26 whips in 2026. Now, of course, I will be casting on more this year. I don't have any plans to not start new projects, but I do have plans to how I'm going to approach those whips. And I am here to say, actually, if you are the type of person that too many works in progresses make you uncomfortable, then this may not be the video for you. But or maybe you enjoy watching other people talk about theirs, but you're just a monogamous crafter, and that's fine too. No judgment, I'm just saying. All right, so priority whips. I'm just going to pop pictures of these in because I've been actively talking about them this month. So I don't want to, you know, your time is precious, my time is precious. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time, but my top priority knits are my Almost Basic Cow for my father. That was a 12 cast-ons of Christmas project, and I want to get that done quickly. My mother-in-law's socks, which have been on the needles way too long, and her birthday is coming up very soon, and I'd like to get those to her sooner rather than later. Another Douglas Cardi, which I cast on during the 12 cast-ons of Christmas. It is a gift for my sister-in-law. She completely knows about it. She wanted to take this one from me, and I was like, no, I'll just knit you your own because I had already promised her a hand knit sweater. And then my husband's fingering weight mini skein blanket. So those are my priority knits. I work on those almost every day. I work on my husband's blanket every day, just 2 rows, back and forth. And then the other ones I touch most days of the week, even if it's just for 30 minutes. Okay, additional whips that I plan to work on over January, February, and March, because I have divided the year into quarters. Additional whips that I want to focus on are this pair of socks. I started it in the fall, I believe. It is a DK weight socks. I am using Bumblebee Acres in the vintage Hufflepuff color. Here is where I am. I have them both started because I like to knit my socks at the same time on 2 separate needles. I will knit them on the same needles, but I prefer them this way. So this is just a cuff, I think. I don't know if I had started into the body of, no, it doesn't look like it. So this is going to be a project I pick up and work on. I have 2 cakes. So that is another first quarter project. And then another one I have is living in this bag. This is also one of my 12 cast-ons of Christmas. It is fingerless mitts, going to be fingerless mitts for my daughter. So, oh, I didn't say, because I'm trying to rush. I knit my DK weight socks on a US 3, which is a 3.25 millimeter needle, I believe. Let me check that just to make sure. Yeah, 3.25 millimeter needle. And These mitts I am knitting out of Lang Yarns Snowflake Multicolor. I have one donut of it. That should be plenty for her mitts, and I just have one on the needles right now. I am knitting it with, oh, I don't know, US 10 6mm needle. I am basing it off the numbers of the Hearthstone mitts by Dana Ray Makes. And I think that's the progress I made on it the day I cast it on. I don't think I've added any progress to them. All right, the next one I want to talk about is another project that I've had on the needles too long. It is Living in This Bag by Molly Klein Design. It is my son's Gilbert scarf. And I'd say it's just about halfway finished. I don't know if that's where I was the last time I showed it on a podcast episode, or if that was the amount of progress I had made to show in the last progress. I don't know. I do pick this up from time to time. It's a very easily memorizable stitch, but I don't know. So here is the book that the pattern is in. Green Gables Knits, Patterns for Kindred Spirits by Joanna Johnson. And I am using this yarn, Loops and Threads Facets. It's 100% acrylic yarn from Michaels, and it is the color 105, which I think is called like sea glass or something. I actually have a lot of this yarn in my stash because my daughter also wants a sweater out of it. I am knitting this on a Chalgu 9, which is a 5.5mm needle. And I will be popping in pictures and stuff as I talk, just in case you're not looking. The next one is another 12 Days of Christmas cast on. It is Living in This Bag that my friend Julie's mother-in-law made. And I have made some changes to it. This is the Hazy Stripe sweater. It is a DK weight sweater using fingering held double. This is the progress that I made on the day I cast it on, and I have not touched it since, but I've been thinking about it. I really want to pick it back up. So like I said, this is my main color. And then my contrast colors are Knit Pick Stroll Fingering in Ash. And I had a pink color that I was using scraps from out of my stash, and I didn't think that that would be enough. I pretty much knew I didn't have enough of that pink, and I figured I'd make it work. But then I was working part-time at the Yarn Maven, which is my local yarn store, and our winter clearance sale happened, and these went on sale 50% off. So I picked them up because I think they will look amazing striped in with this yarn and the gray. So that's a new purchase and a new plan for this sweater. I also have a 50-gram skein of undyed yarn in here, which, oh, I have more than one. It's been like I said, it's been a couple weeks. So I am holding this together with this as my main color. Okay, I remember now. And I have a random ball of sock scrap in the back. I don't know why that's in there. I think that just fell while I was cleaning my room up. All right, and the needle I am using, although it will have been on the graphic that I popped in, but is a US 7 4.5mm needle. All right. All right, here's another one that I started in the fall, but it was giving me like the spring vibes, and I wasn't feeling spring colors at the time, because you know it was the fall, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and so I was like, I'll pull this out in January, and now I'm ready to work on it again. So this is the Out of the Pool DK top. I am modifying this top. It is a rib and garter stitch pattern, and I didn't want to do garter stitch. Just knitting all the time, it gets boring to me. So I am knitting and purling, and that's not as boring. So this is one panel, the front or the back, or actually this is the top. I think it's knit from the top down like this. And it won't have sleeves. It might have some edging, but well, there'll be a picture on the screen. You'll know what it looks supposed to look like. And I am using Noro Compieto. I have 2 balls of this, and it is color number 4. So, and it's like butter. It is so soft. It is a blend of silk and cotton and polyamide. And my needles, did I say my needles? I think this is probably a US 7 too. I am knitting a lot of things right now on a US 7 4.5 millimeter needle. Yep. All right, and the last whip that I've pulled out for this first quarter is my Crochet Granny Stripe blanket. We are hosting a Finish Our Blankets make-along in our Discord group. So if you'd like to join us there, please do. If you've never used Discord, don't let it scare you. It's very easy to maneuver. And here is where I am. I do know that that is progress that I've made recently. So I am using a combination of yarns. This stripe yarn down here is Lion Brand Mandala in the Wizard colorway. And then this like sienna color, burnt orange, I don't know what you call it, is a Loops and Threads, I think. Yes, Loops and Threads Cozy Wool Merino. Daphne gave me this yarn. Spice is the colorway. And I am using a 4 millimeter hook, 4.5 millimeter hook, 4 millimeter hook. And I am following, since I am like a novice cross stitcher, I have followed the rainbow stripe blanket by Repeat Crafter Me. It'll be up on the screen. And I did chain more than what she suggested because I wanted the blanket to be bigger, because I have a lot of this yarn. So why not make a bigger blanket? All right. So those are the whips I'm going to focus on this quarter. Now I do have 2 planned cast-ons that are going to happen soon. So I have another planned cast on that's not until March. So I didn't pull out the yarn for that because I'm not going to focus on it yet. But when I finish my father's basic cal, and I did talk about this during the 12 days of cast-ons, I'm going to immediately cast on another almost basic cal in this Barocco vintage for my son Thomas. So I'm going to switch the project bag out though, because I'm using a Christmas bag currently. So it's about time for the Christmas bags to go away. And then I'm also going to cast on a dress for my new granddaughter. Well, you know, she hasn't been born yet, but she's still my granddaughter currently. So I picked up these yarns in our Yarn Maven winter clearance sale, and I'm going to hold them together. So hold this with this and knit a dress. I haven't 100% decided on the pattern. That's why it hasn't been cast on yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm just going to cast on Tin Can Knits flax and turn it into a dress. I've done that before. It's very easy to do. So I think that's what I'm going to do. It's such a great basic pattern. And that project is going to live in this project bag. All right, so that is it for knitting and crochet whips. And I'm going to talk about checking time because I do have to take my daughter to the dentist. I'm going to talk about my cross stitch whips, and I think I have time to just go right into it. Okay. If you've been here for a while, you know that I got back into cross stitch in 2020. Cross stitch was like my first hobby. I learned how to do it when I was 9 or 10 in 4th grade. I remember my aunt taught me, and well, she bought me a learn to cross stitch kit. I taught myself, but she was a cross stitcher and I said I wanted to do it. But anyway, then when I taught myself how to knit in 2011, I cross-stitched a couple projects, mainly as gifts for people. But I just it just fell to the wayside and I was all about knitting. Well, in early 2020, I stumbled across a floss tube, which I hadn't known was a thing, and easily fell back in love with cross stitch. And honestly, the enjoyment I get from cross stitch is very different than the enjoyment I get from knitting and crochet. There is something very meditative about cross stitching for me, whereas knitting and crochet feels very productive. Does that make sense? I don't know. But so I started working part-time in 2025, which meant that I had less free time. And then my Kindle died, which is what I had Pattern Keeper on. And I eventually got a new tablet, and not a Kindle, I got something else, an Android tablet. And I got Pattern Keeper back and realized that I had lost all my progress. And so all of the patterns that I had saved on Pattern Keeper, I now have to take the time to put that progress back in so I can then get started working on it. And that was very discouraging for me, and kind of has made me question how much I want to stitch from a tablet. I mean, I loved working with Pattern Keeper, but I was a pattern stitcher for years, and I'm also a highlighter of patterns, and I don't make working copies. I mean, they're my copies. Like, I paid for them. So if I want to write all over them, I do. So anyway, all that to say, I stopped cross stitching towards the end of 2025. Mainly, I picked up this first project I'm going to talk about a couple times, only because I want it finished. It's a gift. So when I had some time here recently, once I stopped working, I went through all my cross stitch whips. I had said in early 2025 that I was going to start enough cross stitch projects to get me up to 50 whips, because I'm turning 50 this April. And I have since decided not to do that, only because I really, really want to work on what I already have started. Now, I am all about starting things. It's easier to pick up a start than it is to start something new, although it's a lot of fun to start something new. So anyway, I have decided not to do that. I have scrapped that idea, but I did count my whips, and I had 33. And so since I had 26 knitting and cross stitch whips, I decided to pick 26. No. Since I had 26 knitting and crochet whips, I decided to just pick out 26 of my 33 cross stitch whips to focus on this year. And then I created a list. A finish in 2026 list and a make progress on in 2026 list. I'm sorry if you can hear my tummy rumbling. So on the finish in 2026 list, I have 12 projects. And on the make progress on in 2026, I have 14 projects. I am not going to talk about all of those projects right now because I have broken the year into quarters for my cross stitch whips, and I'm only focusing on so many each quarter. So I am planning on focusing on 7 this first quarter, and only one of them has any progress since the beginning of 2026. So that's the one I'm going to talk about first. Oh, and how I picked the 7 is that I gave each project a random number, and then I had my friend Julie pick 6 random numbers because I knew that one of them I wanted to be a focus so I could get it done by February or in February. So she picked 6 random numbers, and then I have picked the 7th project. All right, so I was sitting over here because I want to pop in the pictures up here. All right, let's go back over. All right, so the first cross stitch whip that I have, that is my main focus for finish soon, I call Balloons, and it's out of this book by Doreen Jones, right? Why did I just blank on her name? Yeah, Doreen Jones, the Let's Travel Landscapes. And it is this project here, just the top. So there's more up at the top of this picture. Let me see if I can find another one. I think there it is, right here. So I am just stitching the sky and the balloons, and it's going to be like, the sky is going to be straight. None of that soil field is going to be in it, just the balloons. I am stitching this for my niece Caroline and her son Joey. Caroline decorated her nursery in balloons. I meant to get a board and I forgot, and we're just going to work with it. So I'll pop a picture in of what it looks like at the very beginning of 2026. There it is. And this is the progress that I've made in the last few weeks. And I'm very happy with that. So this project lives in this beautiful bag by my friend Angelina of Ode to Artistry. Her shop is linked below. The fabric is a 14 count light blue Aida Artiste, Zweigart Artiste from Hobby Lobby. And my threads are all over dyes that I picked either specifically for this project, like picked up at my local yarn store, which is Floss and Flame. It is linked below, or pulled out of my stash, and I'll put a list on the screen of what they are. Okay, so that is 1 down, 6 more to go. The sun has shifted. All right, the next project that is from the Finish in 2026 list lives in this, I think these are wet dry bags that you can get on Amazon. My friend Julie said, these make great project bags, and she was right, they do. And they're very affordable. So, and they have like This particular style has 2 pockets, and I keep my flosses in the front pocket and the rest. Okay, so this was a project that has lost all its progress from Pattern Keeper. Let me slow down. It is called Space Turtle, or maybe that's what I call it. Information is on the screen right now. No progress has been made to this project at all this year. This is my starting point. And it is hard to see. There will be backstitch with this progress, but you know, the pretty little girl turtle is floating there. And I will tell you real quick, this Ada is by a shop that's no longer in business. It's 2 dye 4 fabrics, 14 count Ada, and I have different cuts of it. I sometimes stitch in hand, I sometimes stitch in a hoop or a frame, and this is one of the ones that I stitch in hand. So I just cut my Ada down so I didn't have a bunch of it flopping around. And I ironed it just for this video. I generally don't iron my cross stitch projects until they're done. And all my flosses are here looking like a hot mess. They are not DMC. They are Craft Floss, which I think is like, it's like a cotton polyester blend that you can buy like 445 different colors from Amazon for $30. So they didn't have a brand name. It was just a shop. And like the name is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember what it is. All right, but we're gonna keep moving forward. So the next project is also on the Finish in 2026 list. It lives in another one of these wet dry bags. This is just a single pocket one. And it is Petal Pusher Botanical Study #1. I have done a little bit of a floss conversion. I picked my own colors out of my stash. I am using 16 count Picture This Plus Regency Ada, and here is my progress. Oh, the dentist office is calling. Hold on. All right, so here is my progress. I have made some stitching, some counting errors in this that I didn't want to pull out, and so I just want to get it finished so I can keep those errors fresh, and the plan that in action I have to make it look, you know, good. It's fine. It's going to be fine. But so there is that one. And the dentist office wanted us to come in early. So I'm going to have to take a break and come back later, but you won't know the difference because the video will just keep going. All right, next project is in this Project Keeper from my friend Angela of Ode to Artistry on Etsy. It has 2 whips in it, but I'm only going to talk about one. So this is also on the to be finished in 2024 list. However, I should say this. If I'm working on a whip in this quarter and it doesn't get finished in this quarter, then it just goes back into the draw pile and can get drawed again in another quarter. All right, so this is one that I restarted, I think it was last year. I had started it on, I think it's 40 count linen, and quickly decided that I am not a fan of stitching anything that small. Not at all. I would say my favorite is 16 count or 32 count, and then 14 count or 28 count. And I'm not a fan, if you're new here, I'm not a fan of even weave, although I do stitch on it, but I prefer either Aida or linen. So it's just the way it feels in my fingers. I don't know. So this is Always, and why I don't have a cover picture. That's crazy. I will pop a picture in of what it should look like when it's done. And I call it Always, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's called Always and Forever, by Little House Needleworks. So when I restarted it on, I think this is 14 count Aida. Maybe it's 16 count Aida. I'm not sure. But I started it with Belsois, blue or Mare blue. And I decided to continue to stitch with the silk, even though it's now on Aida. I know some people would never do that, but that's okay. So this is where it is now. I have not worked on it at all this year, and but it is. I have it slated for a finish in 2026. So we'll see. See how far I get this quarter with it. All right, next project is in this bag that I bought from Floss and Flame, my local Needleworks shop. It is Plum Street Samplers, This I Know. I am stitching it on Forbidden Fiber Co. Corinne. It is a 14 count. And I am using all the called for overdyed flosses and DMC. The pattern is written for a mixture of DMC, Classic Colorworks, and Weeks Dye Works is what it looks like. Yeah. And this is where it is at the start of 2026. My lighting changed while I was gone. It's all right. That is actually pretty true to the color of the fabric. I think the modeling is a little bit more pronounced on the screen than it is in person, but so that is where I am. So this one is on the progress in 2026 list. I mean, I would love to finish it, but I want my goals to be achievable. So, and my next project is on the to be finished in 2026 list. It is in another one of these wet dry double pocket bags from Amazon, and it is Sweet Wing Studio, Mercy and Grace. That's what it'll look like when it's done. I am knitting it on an Aida that is dyed by me with Rit dyes. I believe it's a 16 count. And this is where it is at the start of 2026. I am using all DMC, I think. No, I'm not. It looks like I'm using all the called for. All right. Okay. Sorry. And then my final whip for this quarter is living in this, I don't know what these are called, but got them on Amazon. Somebody mentioned in one of their floss tubes that they like to use them to hold whips, and whips that have paper patterns, so they can just put their paper pattern on there. It's like a clipboard with storage, I guess. And in it is a Dimensions Gold Petite. And it is, what is it called? Stacked Teacups. I started this last April. And I am using all the kit floss, but I switched out the kit Ada for, here's the kitted floss. I switched out the kit Ada for another Ada. I don't have any information about this Ada. It looks like it's 18 count. Yes, it looks like it's 18 count, and it probably is, because that is what the kit Ada was. It came with white Ada, and I wanted it to be something different. So that's it. That's all I have. So this is on the progress list. Okay. All right, so those are all my cross stitch whips that I'm going to focus on this first quarter of 2026. I do have a couple other changes that I am making to some current sock knitting whips, but I'm going to do a separate video about those, so that'll be up on the channel in a little while. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you made it this far, I appreciate you being here, and I plan to show the progress on these projects that I talked about today in the regular podcast episodes that Daphne and I do together here on this channel. And then I plan to, at the end of March, start of April, record another one of these whip videos for the second quarter of the year, and show, like, give my plans, my whip plans video for the second quarter. All right, so that is it, and I will see you later. Bye.